This week on Pole House Black Pot Weekend Getaways, we're fixing something out of our cookbook. What's on the menu?
It is homemade peach cobbler.
So stick around.
This is Wade, and I'm Angel, and this is Iris, and we are Pole House Black Pots Weekend Getaways, where we show you all things yummy to cook in cast iron as we visit different places.
Well, welcome back if you've been viewing us before, or welcome if you haven't been watching our YouTube channel. We're glad to have you for we're doing a little bit different since this is the middle of summertime. It's a nice hot day.
And it is hot.
And so we don't do much camping because we're kind of fair weather campers.
No, but we were looking through our cookbook and we couldn't believe we hadn't done this. Our most requested dessert.
So we're going to do this as part of our probably do a little bit of a series maybe on Too Hot to Camp. We've done that before.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that the next several weeks. But yeah, this is a it's a peach cobbler, but it's kind of a different kind than what you might think. I know there's different discrepancies on what is cobbler. And a lot of times I think the definition was the crust and stuff is just kind of cobbled together.
Yes.
And a lot of times it's kind of some type of a topping, maybe even a biscuit, or maybe even
a pie
crust is kind of just blobbed on top of pastry. But this recipe is more like a pancake cake batter that gets caramelized with lots of sugar
and don't have any egg in it,
and gets a kind of a chewy, crunchy, different kind of cobbler. It's a recipe that I grew up with, that my mom made for many, many years, and it's still a favorite. But yeah, and then the easy thing to do with this recipe is we're going to do peaches because they're already canned and they're room temperature, so they're easy to do. But
so we're going to regroup and we'll get back at it.
Okay, so we're going to get started. Charcoal's already going, and we're going to do this in a shallow 12-inch Dutch oven. So pretty simple recipe. What I have in here is all the dry ingredients, which is flour, salt, baking powder, and then also regular granulated sugar, which is sometimes not technically a dry ingredient, but works great to mix it up. We can make this as a pre-ingredient mixed. If you're going to go take it somewhere and cook it later, we've done it many times, because the only liquid
is milk. But doesn't that have a touch of cinnamon in it?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. It does have cinnamon in it also. I failed to mention that. So, we're going to use evaporated milk. You can use regular milk if you want. Makes no problem. Whatever you have on hand or whatever you like. Okay. It takes... We usually make a 14-inch Dutch oven, which is a whole can. So we had to kind of change the recipe down, but we don't usually make a 12-inch very much, because we usually make it for a good-sized crowd. So that's about a cup and a half of milk. So this is about a cup and an eighth, to get technically. So we're just going to mix that in. This is actually supposed to be the consistency of about pancake batter. So it's not a real thick batter, of course. Pretty simple. Yeah, like I said earlier, there's no eggs in this one.
So if you have somebody that has a problem with eggs, they can eat this all day long.
Yep.
Now, not so much if they're diabetic, because it is pretty sweet.
Yeah, lots of sugar. Maybe a thin pancake batter, but that's basically what it looks like. Have to apologize. It is the middle of summertime, middle of the late afternoon. So there's a lawnmower and the neighbors over there, so you're probably going to be hearing that. But okay, so now let me get the lid off the Dutch oven. Get it out of the way.
Look at what he's done here, guys.
I have put in some butter pads, and this is a half a cup, 1 stick of butter, and we're going to set this on top for just a couple of minutes. I should have done that before I actually mixed that up. We want the butter to melt, so that when we pour the batter in, it'll be nice and distributed. So while that's doing, I'm going to open up one of this large can. I don't know what size can this is, but this is kind of the large can of peaches. it doesn't make any difference whether it's in white light syrup or whatever, because we don't use that in this recipe. Just the peaches, so you can actually, they can actually be drained. These are sliced peaches, so and we've got a fork here in a minute. That's what we're going to get them dug out with. Now this butter just got a couple minutes for that butter to melt, and we'll be right back. Butter has melted. Now all we do is pour in the batter. Next step, kind of move it around so that butter gets all around there too, on the outside, because that's what makes it nice and crispy on the outside. I do our best to get most of it out of there. Can't get it all. Okay, now, next step. Strategically place the peaches.
Without much juice in there.
Yep, don't need any extra juice. So I'm using a fork, that usually works the best.
Do me a favor, honey. Go over there and dump some of that off, because you're good.
Now, this recipe not only works for canned peaches, you can use fresh peaches if you want it. It also works really good for, I've done fresh cranberries.
Gooseberries.
Fresh gooseberries, blackberries, raspberries. Those work wonderful also. You can also use frozen fruit if you don't have any fresh blackberries or raspberries. The only problem you have then is, instead of taking about the normal 40 minutes, about 35 to 40 minutes with this one batch of charcoal, then frozen fruit just suck your heat out, so you'll have to replenish your charcoal and put in, quote, another batch. And we've kind of touched that further on other of our videos. You start out, in this case, with about 30 pieces of charcoal, and then after about 30 minutes of cook time, you put about another 15, about half that, maybe 15 or 16 again on there to keep the cooking process up, because you've only got so much heat because you only use so many pieces of charcoal, and that cold in that Dutch oven will actually really suck out a lot of your heat that you wouldn't think of. But that's the big difference on putting cold ingredients in a Dutch oven, and you can't use the same amount of charcoal because you're going to have a lot less heat inside. Okay, there's our fruit, simple.
And let's look and see.
Charcoal's almost ready. Last thing is, this is about 3/4 of a cup of white sugar goes on top. Spread it out even. And this is what kind of gives you that crunchy, gooey, caramely stuff on top. So try to spread it out pretty even, so you get an even browning all over. Yeah, this is definitely not good for the sugar part. Lots of sugar, but makes it sure good. Gotta be sure to get all the way around the edges, because that's what makes that outside, makes it nice and gooey and chewy. Yeah, it's hot out here. Glasses don't even stay up. Okay, lid on. Okay, the Dutch oven settled here, like I like it. Okay, we've got just a little bit, quite a bit of black yet, not all gray, so we're going to give it about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and we'll be back and we'll show you how to get this thing cooking. Alright, it's been about 5 minutes. Our charcoal is ready, so now it's time to get this cobbler bacon. So, like normal, baking, so it works the same way, 1/3 on the bottom, 2/3 on top.
You had one that escaped it.
Yeah, I'm very good at that. Sometimes fall through the bottom of a wire rack of the flue. As always, when you're putting charcoal when we're baking, Put the charcoal on the bottom outside edge only, so we don't get a hot spot in the middle and cause the center of whatever we're baking to get burnt. So 10 on the bottom, 20 on top. On top, we're going to do like our normal, a nice ring around the outside, about 4 in the middle, also kind of known as a checkerboard. Yeah, we need 4 in there, don't we? 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Spread them out evenly so you get as even of a heat as you can. Same way with these on top. Give them a nice little even amount. Okay. Now the wind's not bad, but it kind of comes and goes just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put our wind guard on. Wind's never our friend when we're out trying to Dutch oven cook. This recipe takes probably a good 40 minutes. 30 minutes just doesn't quite get it because it's pretty dense. It takes a lot to get that all cooked and done and crispy. So it's closer to a 40-minute time, but we'll go ahead and still probably rotate it every 10 minutes, and then we'll see at about 40-minute mark. Hopefully it'll be done. So we'll see you back in a few minutes.
On this channel, we show you yummy, delicious, and interesting things to cook in cast iron, most specifically Dutch ovens. Do you know we have a cookbook? It not only shows you great tips how to use your Dutch ovens, but it gives you our first 2 years of recipes.
They're $20 with $6 shipping and handling. You can get those at Pole House Black Pots, P.O. Box 212, Fayette, Missouri 65248, or on Venmo.
Yes, in the Venmo, look up Pole House Black Pots on Venmo. Okay, put my gloves on because of course it's still hot. And I'm gonna see if it is done. It should be.
Oh, I don't even have
yeah.
Oh my God.
See that golden amount of, listen to
yes.
this. Well, it's not quite hard, but it sets up and cools a little bit, and that soft out there will get crunchy, and it'll be wonderful. So we're not going to have to taste it on camera because we've had this so many times. We know it's excellent.
We're going to show you what we serve it with, which is a la mode.
Yep, which if you don't know what a mode is
with ice cream.
With ice cream. Excellent that way.
So, we hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, which is a like. It really helps us. Share us on Facebook or Instagram. And what desserts do you fix? What do you want to see us cook on
or
this
something
channel?
you want to see in the hot summertime. Maybe you don't want to.
That you would rather cook somewhere besides your house.
Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate you watching. Remember, anything you cook in your house or in your oven, you can cook in a Dutch oven.
Yep. Save all that heat from going in the house.
Yep.
Cook it outside.
We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.